my comedy DVDs part 30. Ahoy everybody, and welcome to part 30 of a look at my comedy DVDs. So big chunk of Go Faster Stripes in these, but we've got stand-up, we've got sitcoms, we've got sketch shows, we might have films, we might have documentaries. That's what I'm showing here. Lots to show, so I'm just going to crack straight on after a quick slurp, which I should have done before I started filming. So first up we have Woman Wizard. So this was a self-released DVD by Robert Llewellyn, and it is a comedy lecture about a bit of software. I mean, this is dated, this is from 2003, so this is sort of, you know, prospective technology that he was sort of imagining at that time. So Woman Wizard, sorry, it's the way it's written on here. Woman Wizard, a breakthrough in interpersonal software tool design is launched. Sorry, this, where it's self-released, this is done really badly. Yeah, basically it's a bit of software, sort of, don't change your wife, change your life. It's sort of replacing a woman in your life, or being a... It's a long time since I watched it, which is, so I'm partly struggling because of that. I mean, I haven't watched it since 2003, but it's also because it sounds so dated. But yeah, it's a bit of software designed to be a woman in your life. It's not so much sexual, but just a replacement for your wife. Anyway, what this is anyway is he recorded it over 2 nights in the Comedia Theatre in Brighton. This presentation, it's a PowerPoint type presentation about it. Mistakes and all in it. It's funny, it's not hilarious, but it's enjoyable. It's on a... I mean, it might not even play... Oh no, it's pressed. I lied. I was going to say it's on a DVD, but it's not. It's pressed. This was meant to come signed, which is one of the reasons I bought it, and a handful, the signature was missed, so it never did come signed. But yeah, it's enjoyable enough. Next is stuff falling everywhere. Whose Line Is It Anyway? The complete first and second series. Unfortunately, that's all they release. But yeah, love Whose Line Is It Anyway. If you're not familiar, it is an improvisation comedy show. It has sort of gone on to become very popular in America with American and Canadian cast. But it started over here. It started on Radio 4 and then transferred to Channel 4. It was one of their early big hits. It's sort of where John Sessions made his name, Paul Merton made his name. Some other lesser known... Oh, Tony Slattery made his name. Other lesser known but still popular comedians like Josie Lawrence, Mike McShane. And then they had guests like Rory Bremner, Stephen Fry, Peter Cook did one, Jonathan Price, Sandy Toxvig, Griffiths Jones, Rory Bremner. I might have already said Rory Bremner. But yeah, this is the first 2 series. It's hosted by Clive Anderson. Basically, they're just games suggested from the audience. Very funny stuff, a lot of the time. Very great collection. Okay, oh no, one more. Okay, this is We Know Where You Live Live. So this is basically one of the Secret Policeman's balls. It was done at the Wembley Arena, was it? Or the O2? Wembley Arena. And they didn't use the Secret Policeman's name for some reason, I don't think. But as they put it here, it's the son of a Secret Policeman's ball. So if you don't know, Secret Policeman's balls are a series of comedy and music, but mainly comedy shows put on in aid of Amnesty International. This, bizarrely, is sort of tagged as an Eddie Izzard release, but he's not. I think he headlines and he crops up in it, but it's, you know, not especially an Eddie Izzard show, if you like. One of the weaker ones. There's some good stuff here. There's good people: Eddie Izzard, Phil Jupiters, Jonathan Ross, Harry Hill, Vic Reeves, Harry Enfield, Simon Day, Goodness Gracious Me cast, Paul Whitehouse, music from U2, Badly Drawn Boys, Tom Jones and the Stereophonics. Dom Jolly's in it, being not very funny. The late great Jeremy Hardy. It's sort of marred for me, in my memory anyway, because they do a version of a Four Yorkshiremen sketch on it, in it. Eddie Izzard, Vic Reeves, possibly Jonathan. No, trying to see a picture there to see who did it. I can't even remember the other two. It might be Eddie, Simon Day and Phil Jupiters. I'm not entirely certain, but it's just shambolic and it doesn't work, and that's all I can remember of this show, really. But nice to have. Right, so we've now got a big bunch of Go Faster Stripe releases. So if you haven't watched the earlier parts, Go Faster Stripe is a label set up by Chris Evans, not that one or that one, in Cardiff. Basically, he wanted to see a DVD of one of Stuart Lee's shows, so he paid to have it recorded and released, pretty much. And it sort of escalated from there, and he specialises in releases from less mainstream comics. I own a fair chunk, as you've seen. There's a lot more that I don't own. I am, you know, selective. Most of them come in, there are some which I have already shown in proper DVD cases, but most of them come in these little cardboard wallets. Let's get cracking. So this is a Richard Herring release, Talking Cock for Second Coming. So Talking Cock was one of his early stand-up shows, and he redid it a few years later when he was a bit more popular and, you know, he could do a decent tour on the back of it. Basically, he was doing a show in Edinburgh, and I think he was in the room above where they were doing the vagina monologues, and he thought it would be a good idea to do a male version of the vagina monologues. So he put out a survey on his website that hundreds and thousands of people ended up replying to, questions for, I think it's entire. I don't think there was any women's perspective on. I think it was entirely for men about their penises. And this is sort of him talking about that survey and the results of it, and also men's attitude towards their penises. It's very, very funny stuff. Really good. This, as I mean, certainly all of the Richard Herring releases, but most of the Go Faster Stripe releases, it's got some really good extras on here. The Richard Herring ones usually have lots of extras as well. Another Richard Herring, this is Oh Fuck I'm 40. So, as he was approaching his 40th birthday, he was having a bit of a crisis, and he made a show out of it, basically. Again, lots of good extras. I mean, I'm a big fan of Richard, basically, so I can't say anything bad about any of these. Yeah, really strong. Okay, he did a Kickstarter campaign. So, again, we're talking about Richard Herring. He presents a podcast called Richard Herring's Leicester Square Theatre Podcast, where he interviews mainly comedians, but other people of interest as well. And it started off being audio only, then they started filming it, but to film it is expensive. So he wants his comedy, well, certainly his online comedy, to be free, so that people who can't afford to pay it can still watch it. And what he does is he asks the people who can afford to pay for it to contribute in one way or another to do so. So he has a monthly badger scheme where for £3 or more, you pay that every month, and that just goes into the fund for filming the podcast and making the podcast and things like that, which I do contribute to. But he also does Kickstarter campaigns to pay for the filming. And one of the rewards on one of them, which I backed, included a Kickstarter DVD. So this has got Richard doing a Richard Hemmings Square Theatre podcast, where he interviewed himself. And there's all sorts of extras on here as well. And I paid for one of the limited edition signed versions, and he does make me laugh because all of the limited edition signed stuff he does just involving writing the word limited edition and numbering them and signing them. So I've got number 17 of 100. But I mean, if I bought that from him after a gig, he would sign it. So literally all that is limited edition is the fact he's written limited edition and numbered it. But yeah, that's beside the point, really. Okay, more Richard to come, but in the meantime, this is more 9 Lessons and Carols for Godless People. So I showed 9 Lessons and Carols for Godless People, I think that's the one I showed anyway, in a previous part. So these are basically non-secular Christmas shows put on by Robin Ince. And it features, you know, a combination of comedians, usually with either Christmas themed or atheism themed material, some music, some scientists, professors, those sort of people as well. But it's all either educational or entertaining. They're a lot of fun. So this was the 2011 show highlights from. This is which actually on here, I forgot to say, obviously Robin Ince, Richard Herring's on here, Festival of the Spoken Nerd, Izzy Sooty, Marcus de Sotoy, Joe Neary, Nick Doody, Josie Long, Alan Moore. Give you some idea of the sort of people on it. Yeah, this is Peacock season. So this was a film made by 3 people whose names I don't really know. But basically it's a film set during the Edinburgh Fringe. And a lot of comedians appear on it. This was made for £58, this film. Nina Conti, Adam Hills, Reece Shearsmith, Dan Antopolsky, Brendan Burns, Scott Capurro, Rhys Darby, Justin Edwards, Pete Furman, Paul Foote, Richard Herring, Kerry Howard, Phil Nichols, Sarah Pascoe, Lucy Porter, Izzy Sooty, Glenn Wool are among many of the comedians who appear in this. So they're appearing sort of as themselves, most of them. It's not stand-up. It was an enjoyable enough film. It's not brilliant, but... this is Satirist for Hire. This is Andy Zaltzman, rather. So he's a satirist, basically. He co-hosts the Bugle podcast with John Oliver. And this is his stand-up show. And it's very funny too, basically. I'm speeding up a bit because I've realised what the time is and I want to try and get through as many of these as possible. This is Yellow T-shirt by Tom Parry. Tom Parry is part of Pappy's, aka Pappy's Fun Club, who are a comedy troupe. There used to be 4 of them, now there's 3 of them. This is his solo show. It's funny, basically. That's all I can say. This is just a traditional stand-up DVD. Again, extras. Susan Calman, Ladylike. So this was done before she was a bit more well-known, sort of pre-Strictly and stuff. But this is her show, recorded in Glasgow. Again, just a proper stand-up show with some extras, including her RHLSTP appearance. But yeah, very funny stuff. I do like Susan a lot. This is Norman Lovett, Outside the Box. So, obviously a fan of Norman's through Red Dwarf. His stand-up, I think I've already shown Bags and Biscuits. I'm 90% certain I've already shown that. This was a later one, recorded in 2011. But it's I think it was later anyway, but it was irrelevant. His stand-up is just, you know, he'll just stand up on stage and he talks about carrier bags and has them floating in the air and all sorts, and yeah, it's peculiar, but it's wonderful. Okay, so this is Richard Herring 10. So when he did his 10th show, We're All Going to Die at the Edinburgh Fringe, so he did 10 years, 10 consecutive different shows. Rather than pay, £3,000 for lamppost adverts, he instead paid for £3,000 worth of these, which is compilation of his favourite sketches from each of his previous shows. So from the 9 previous ones, and then he reads something that he was hoping would be in the 10th one. It is 2 hours and 12 minutes. It's interspersed with him talking about the routines as well. So what he did was he gave these free to anybody who attended his 10th Edinburgh comedy show, and then he had loads left. So I donated, sort of through him, I think it was only £15 to Scope, which is a charity he raises lots of money for, in return for loads of signed flyers and programmes, which I received, and he also included this. And it's put on there, Martin, thanks for a donation, and signed it. Subsequently, buying various things from him and donating, and I've helped fund programmes and things like that. I've got 3 more copies which aren't signed. This is 10 Lessons and Carols for Godless People. So this was a 2010 show. This is CD, he says. Yes, so this is CD, this isn't DVD, but it's in with all those because it's Go Bust Strike release. Obviously Robin Ince, Josie Long, Ben Goldacre, Jim Bob from Carter USM, Richard Herring, Ed Byrne, Mitch Benn, Stuart Lee, Al Murray. This is also a CD. This is Mr. Bartlett and Mr. Willis. So this is an improvised set of shows, if you want, recordings between Kevin Eldon and Simon Munnery in character as Mr. Willis and Mr. Bartlett. It's very bizarre, but it's very, very funny. Big fan of Kevin Eldon. But yeah, 2 CD set. I just want to get through these go faster, so sorry this is a bit longer than normal. This is from another of the Kickstarter campaigns. One of his early ventures into podcasting was a show called As It Occurs to Me, or AI Ottomer, which was a weekly topical-ish... Well, it's a weekly sketch show. It's topical in as much as it was about his life that week, rather than the grander scheme of things. He did that audio-only show, although they did film the last one. He wanted to bring it back and to fund it, and this time it was proper filmed with sketches and all sorts. So to fund it, he did another Kickstarter. So this is the Kickstarter release. Again, limited edition. In other words, he's written a number on it. 186 of 200 and signed. This has got the full version of a motorcycle clothing shop sketch, which is sort of an infamous sketch in Richard's world. In-depth interview of the cast, backstage chit-chat from work in progress stuff, MP3 versions of every AI Ottomer from before on there. Miles Jupp, I've shown 2 of his previous Go Fast Strike releases. This was his 3rd one, I think, but this only had a small... The others were in proper cases. But yeah, really enjoy Miles' stand-up. Very funny stuff. Highly recommend. Another Richard Herring. So this is What Is Love Anyway? So this was his show about love and him falling in love and eventually getting married. Again, more excellent stuff, loads of extras. So going back to AI Ottoman, as it occurs to me, this was released long before it came back. Sorry if that's messing up the microphone, I'll keep doing it just to prove it. So this is, again, MP3s of every AI Ottoman from the original run, plus the video of the live recording of the last show, and some other bits as well. More Richard Herring. He did a podcast with Andrew Collins, the Collins and Herring show, and these were some special ones recorded purely for this CD. Earth, Wind, Fire and Water. They're MP3s and they're all over an hour each. Plus there's some extras on there as well. And the last Go Faster Stripe, certainly in these type of cases, is Barry Cryer and Ronnie Golden live, actually. So Barry Cryer, obviously comedy legend. Former Fabulous Poodle Ronnie Golden sings and plays guitar with Barry, and they do songs but then do stand up in between and what have you. But yeah, funny stuff. Extras on here as well. Okay, that will do for this part. Again, apologies, it's a bit longer than normal, but I wanted to get through those. Thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks. Bye.